Hi everyone, so my name is Jonathan Wickham, and today I'll just be demonstrating um, how to configure and install Elementary OS, do booting with it, setting up multiple virtual machines and stuff like that. So this here is the website, the official website, right? So Elementary OS, this began as a small project around 2007. So it was designed and it was basically used as for improvements for Ubuntu. So they weren't building a full operating system yet. They were just polishing Linux to make it cleaner and easier to use, right? So they had Jupyter, which was the 0.1, Luna, which was 0.2, and then in this there was the Pantheon desktop, and it was basically similar to macOS. Over the years, the team focused on different stuff in it, like the App Center. Then it got updates in 2015, 2018, 2020. Then in 2021, Elementary OS 6 was released, and 7.1, 7.1. So it's basically known for being high polished and minimalistic. And then in 2024, Elementary OS 8 came out. So it will be 8 here I'll be demonstrating to you guys. So we have the download here waiting. As you can see, is 3 gigabytes. It's not much, right? So we'll wait for this. We'll be torrenting it here, as you can see. And then after that, I'll be demonstrating how we can use it in Oracle VirtualBox, right? So it remains one of the most design-friendly, user-friendly interfaces, right? So here, this is where we open it, and we will be naming it just something simple. Obviously, we'll have to attach the ISO image, so we get that from our downloads. We already set the Linux and Ubuntu because it's based off of Ubuntu. So this is how much memory I will be using for this system, right? Now, I have noticed here that there's an error, right? So this will most likely be because of how I named it, because it's limited to how much letters you can use. So you finish there, and then we can check our memory. Yeah, the memory might be enough, so I'll probably put this to 4. Yeah, probably 4 gigabytes. You want to have enough for your virtual machines. You don't never want it to crash on you. You want to make sure it's enough. So I'll adjust that, and let me see if there's anything else that we left out. That should be good. Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, the wood network adapter should be fine. Right, and once all is well, we could now start. Right, it opens up a window for us. Boots up. Just position this a little better. Right, so obviously get presented to the language you want to use. So we will go with English. We follow the United States in this case. Doesn't really matter. Just keep it as probably default. Yeah, keep it simple, minimalistic. Right. For this install, we will just do the erase disk and install. The custom install will be done further down the video, but for now we'll do this, right? It also warns us that the virtual machine might not run good, so they don't recommend it, but we have no choice in this case. So you just want to click on install anyway. Choose the hard disk that we obviously set up in the virtual machine, Oracle VirtualBox. We won't be doing an encryption password in our case, trying to keep it simple. Right, probably have to tick that box or not. Right, include third-party proprietors, driver, installer, and everything expected. You don't have to, it's optional. So then we will just wait for that, and then yeah, so we would either be able to restart or shut down. So in my case, I restarted. Right, we'll just wait a little bit, and then we'll be sent back over into the interface. Ask for the language again. Choose it over. Same stuff as before. Follow the same exact format. Then I'll put in our credentials here. So just put in that. Password. You want to always use a proper password, but for just demonstrational purposes, I'm using something simple, but you always want to use something secure, right? So for the name, we'll probably change it as well. Yeah, just put Jonathan Wickham, you know. You want to be able to identify it and not be lost. So you just put in your password again. Remember the password, okay? Always remember the password. And it will send you straight back. Don't know what happened there. We'll put it in again and see what happens. Okay, then it will send us to this black screen and hopefully boot into the Pantheon desktop. Okay, cool. So it will just give you a welcome. So we could skip over. We'll just see what we have to do here. Right. So as you can see, this is how it looks. The Pantheon desktop looks, right? So from here, obviously it gives us the date and time in the middle, right? That way is the sound, that way the connections are seen, the battery power, notification, different updates that you have to do, right? And this is just the how you would want to power off and stuff like that going to settings. So you can see all the applications, and this is the dock, right? Where all the different apps should be. So as you can see, you can open a lot of different stuff, and it will open basically Windows with the tabs. So as you can see, it does resemble Mac OS, where I did mention it's a simplistic design that developers use for elementary OS, the Pantheon desktop. So from here, we could go into settings. There's multiple. It's not a lot of variety, but this is how it is. So you have wallpaper, the appearance you can customize with different colors, dark mode, default mode. So as you can see, this is how the dark mode would look, which I personally prefer. The text is the font size, the dock on the panel. So this is like the dock that's telling you guys about underneath. And then multitasking, which is like the coolest thing. So this is where it shines. So this is one of the main functions of elementary OS, one of the main features. So this would allow you to go to the hot corners of the screen, and it would allow you to do very, very, very unique functions of each. So as you can see, this here, right, this will open, show you all the windows that you have, right? That one will switch the workplace left to right, to the previous or to the next, right? So it makes it very, very easy for you to see everything. So this is how it opens up everything that you do. It's extremely, extremely easy to do. So that's one of the main features, right? This will let you to go into the multitasking view. So you won't have to use any shortcuts on your keyboard. It's just literally just your mouse, and you're getting done a lot more in much less time. Okay, so that's one of the core features that we see when we use an elementary OS. So one of the other features is that it has its own personal app center. So this app center will have different applications that you can use. So it can really vary a lot, obviously, but it's very simplistic as well. It has like the different categories that you can choose from, right? So you see, it has a little something you're not familiar with, but nevertheless it's good. So these are different categories that you could choose from in the app center. So to show an example, let's go to fun and games. It will take a while to load here. And this will basically just show you all the different games that you have, right? And it's just hundreds, right? Thousands. So it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. So, and as you can see, all these things are free here in this category. So a lot of apps, games that you're probably not familiar with, but I mean, that's the point of Linux, right? Is to learn new stuff, new things, right? Open your mind. So besides just doing that, you can also do like a simple search. So we will search for probably OBS. This will give us more detailed stuff on OBS, the ratings, So that's how we would see more information, or we would need the software. And now we could use terminal. What we could do here is use sudo app install command. So this will download, let's say, some stuff that we want. So in my case, GIMP and VLC, which are two very useful applications. So as you can see here, this would fetch the applications from the web for us. So this terminal does everything for us, does all the work. So as you can see, just from typing in those commands, the applications already appeared. We didn't have to go in the app center or anything. And look how easy. So in VLC Media, you can see it says, well, obviously a lot of different tabs that you can use, the tools, right? Different effects that you could do in VLC Media Player. It's a lot. You can add a subtitle file with this. So this media player will just play your videos, your audio, what you want. So it's very useful to open different files. So in my case, I would open this this video that I have on the system.
Welcome to Everyday
it's a
Linux
month on
User.
elementary
The past
OS.
month I have been using
Right, so this is
elementary
how
OS,
you would
and in this video,
open
I am going to take you
a
through
video.
the
So as you can
highs,
see, I
the
can play
lows,
this video
and to
now.
be honest, the dark
This
and
local
the
file
murky.
that I have.
Every month I pick a different Linux distribution.
This
and
guy,
set them
he
up
spoke about
using
elementary OS, so I thought it would be
so that I
suitable
can
for the
get a
video.
more informed review at the end.
So this is what I decided
By the time you get to the end,
to
you
use
know
it.
whether it's good, bad, or
Right.
neutral, both.
So this is him speaking about it. I'm covering a lot. The other software we installed obviously was GIMP, right? So this is basically like an all-in-one graphical tool. So it's basically like probably like Illustrator and Photoshop in one combined. It has a lot of different stuff, but the most simple feature I will show just now in a moment. But as you can see, there is a lot of variety. Just, I mean, like, it has so much you can do, right? So, we would, let's say, open a file, for instance, a little cat I have here. So, what we can do is open up this cat and we can make some edits in the application, right? So, let's say if we want to just paint him up and outline him, we can do that, right? You can just draw around Mr. Cat here, right? Make Mr. Cat look a little cool, and that's how we outline him there with GIMP. Okay, let's see what else we can do here. Let's see. Could give him a title, give him the official Mr. Cat title, right? And that's how he looks. Yup, give him his title. What else can we do here? We can move it around, obviously we can move around the canvas. Now this is like the lasso tool that would be usually used in Photoshop, as you know, or Illustrator. Very, very powerful tool, by the way. So as you can see, it mimics a lot of this stuff in the Adobe applications, right? And this is all free, just keep that in mind. This is all free, so we can put any text as well, just like you would your own text with official font, right? There's also layers, obviously, like this is how you would use the transform, so like the rotational features in the Adobe products. It has that as well. So as you can see, it tries to mimic a lot of features. So and this is all for free. This is all for free, right? So next, what we want to do here is create a second virtual machine, right? With the same OS, everything, same process, same exact process, same ISO, same OS, same distribution, same OS version, right? This time we'll probably use a little less RAM, considering it's our second machine. So you would want to allocate, a reasonable disk size, the 25 gigs, same as before, right? And it would be the exact same process as before, right? The same graphics, same network setting, and then you would go through this exact same process as before. You would put in your credentials. So this would just be my second account here. So this is how we would basically do networking between the two machines. Printer sharing, file sharing, which I will get into shortly. So this would basically show you how to connect these two elemental OS machines and communicate with each other. Okay, so this would basically show you how to do it. So this will be a demonstration of how to connect these two machines. Okay, so right. So now what we have to do is go into the networking properties and then VirtualBox, right? We would add a second adapter. So this adapter would be the host only adapter. So this would connect to our host, which is the actual computer that we're using. And we would ensure that they both are connected to the host only adapter. And then from here, they can communicate with each other. So we want to just add a second adapter. And then you want to leave the first adapter so it can still get an internet connection, right? So we're gonna be using two adapters in each virtual machine. One for the internet, the WAN, and then one for the local area network, the LAN. Okay? So we boot up the two virtual machines here from VirtualBox. And then we get prepared to do a communication with each other. So we have the two. So we can now use the terminal and the two, and we want to put in some commands, right, to communicate with each other, right? So first of all, we want to use the sudo app update to update the package list. So it basically refreshes the package list. They would ask you then for the password, because it's obviously for sudo is a privilege scale command. So from there now, we want to just do the same thing on both machines, right? So we just finished and we want to install Samba and COPS. And these are services that allow us for printer sharing and file sharing. Samba is for file sharing and COPS is for printer sharing. So as you can see here, we just wait. It will do its thing on its own, right? So this is on the first virtual machine that I created. So it's installing there, it's fetching all the packages, doing everything for itself. It's all automated, which is the good thing about the Linux terminal. So there, it's done on that machine. So now we're basically just repeating the exact same thing on the second virtual machine, right? So the same thing, same sudo password, same process as before, right? And we just give it its time and it does it, right? Then we would do the install command, install the two immediately. So as you can see, you can install two. You can install it at the same time, the two at the same time, and it's very easy to do, right? So we would just wait again for this here. Give it its time. Let us do its thing. Get it done. So you want to make sure you have a stable internet connection for this, right? Because obviously it will take much longer because these machines have to use the Wi-Fi that's on your host system. So you always want to ensure that it's a stable connection that you have. Otherwise, a lot of things can go wrong. Okay. So seeing that I think it's done here. Yep. So seeing that it's done, we'll now make our next step. Okay. Let me just adjust this a little bit. Probably fix this. Right. I think that should be good here. Let's see. Okay. So what we want to do is make sure that we know our IP addresses because they need to communicate with each other, right? So this command, IP address, IP ADDR, right, will help us identify the IP address of our current machine, right? So we want to just search for it, and as you can see, it will be here. So this is it, 192.168.56.102. That is our IP address of the current machine. So we would obviously need to put that in our next machine to communicate with each other, to send, to ping each other. So we want to do the same exact thing in that machine, this command, IP address, and then we look for the IP address of our current machine and we identify it. And then from there, we just switch it. So if we want to ping each other, we just put the IP address of the machine that we want to ping, right? So this would ensure that they can network properly between each other, communicate, right? So we would use the ping command and we're going to put in the IP address of my second virtual machine that I connected. So we would put this command in the first virtual machine. We would put in the correct IP address and then it would tell you, it would give you this and give you all the information, right? And this would tell you that yes, we got replies. So it was sent. Then we just end it there, right? It tells you the received amount, packet loss, the time it took, and that's how it does it. That's how it's done. So we just do the same thing. We want to ensure that we can send packets to our first virtual machine, the second one. So we just repeat the process. Again, you don't put the IP address of your actual machine, but the one that you want to ping to, the destination host, and yes, it was sent. So that's how we know the communication was done. And that's how we did the networking between the two machines. So then now from here, this lets us know, okay, yes, so we are safe to do printer sharing, file sharing, etc. and other different communication, right? So now we want to use this command and in the first machine, right? So mkdir, so that stands for make directory, right? So we want to make a directory and we want to name it, let's say share, for example. Let's say we want to make, so this is basically a folder. So we want to make this directory, we want to name it share. Okay, looks like I messed up part of the command, so I might have to retype that. So let's try it again. Let's see here. So let's just correct this. So let's just make this correction to it now. Make sure we type it in correctly. So there's a bit of space like tilde there. So this makes our share directory, right, for this command. So we named it share. So what we're using now is chmod 777. So this changes the permission for the directory, for the folder. So this means that everyone would be able to read, write, and execute it, right? So now anybody could do anything. So they could read, write, delete, run files inside, right? Now if we use this sudo nano, etc. samba, and then samba config, this is a special command that will edit the samba configuration file. So this will edit it with root privileges. So this now would open the configuration, and then what we want to do here is enter some different stuff in the configuration file. Okay, so we're gonna put some stuff here, some permissions for change the permissions of the config file. So for when someone tries to access it. Okay, so let's just add in some stuff here so our another machine can properly access our file. Okay, so there's obviously the name of the file. The file is share, as you know, the directory that we created, so we want to make sure and put that. right? We want to specify the path, so it would know, the configuration file would know where exactly it's located, right? So we want to put our username now, the correct username. So in my case, it will be Jonathan. Right? Yep, Jonathan becomes, so as you can see there. Make sure it matches up. Then the share directory that we created earlier. Okay? So that should be our path. Right? Next we would want to set the availability for it. So we want to set this as yes. Then we will want to put it from read only to no. So this would ensure that obviously the user can also make edits as well, not just being able to read, right? Giving them the ability to browse the file. So we will set that to yes. So all these are different permissions, and then putting it to public, right? So it's available for anyone who has the IP address, okay? And then setting it to writable so they can make their edits. So our second virtual machine can make edits to it, right? Let's see if I left out anything here. That should be it. Don't think I forgot anything. You can just verify it. Make sure all our specifications is correct. So this would set the permissions in the Samba file, the Samba share, right? So we close it, right? We won't have to touch it again. So what we want to do is just restart the Samba service, right? This will refresh it, seeing that we made changes to the configuration file. So you want to make sure it actually processes, right? So we just want to restart the Samba service. And from here, if we've done everything correctly, right, we should be able to see the share pop up as long as we put the correct information to connect to. So you see, we can connect our server. In our case, we'll be acting as a server. So we choose Windows Share because that is what Samba sets it as. We put the IP address of our virtual machine 1, right? Make sure it's correct. The name of the share that you want to connect to, right? The password for our user, this second virtual machine. And as long as we put everything correctly, it should connect like this. So from here now, we are now connected to the share. As you can see, it says the IP address. So it created a work group, and we can now create a folder, and it pops up on our first machine. So this is basically how the file sharing works with our elementary OS process that we did here with Samba. So as you can see, a lot of the changes we make in the second virtual machine pops up the first. So this is how you would share files between two of these Linux machines, right? So we can just dabble a little bit here and be a little creative. Name it, yeah, this is it, and it pops up there. This is it, lol, pops up again, right? So we can be a little creative here. We can do some stuff, right? Yeah, we can do some stuff here. Just add something random. But as you can see, it always pops up. Okay. But I want to see how you notice that the folder that we created from the first virtual machine, yep, this is it, lol, it didn't pop up on the second one. As you can see, it didn't actually pop up as only available. That is because it was from the machine that actually created it. So when you create the ones that are from the second one, it then pops up on the first one, but not vice versa. So you can change that, but that's like the default permission, so that way you can keep things exclusive to the first virtual machine. The first machine, right? That's basically our next method to connect. But yeah, that is a simple demonstration of file sharing with elementary OS. Yeah. So what we want to do now is get into our printer sharing, right? So what we want to do now is start up the CUPS service on our first virtual machine, put in our sudo password. We want to boot up the CUPS service, make sure it's running, right? And then from here, we're going to use sudo again, super privileges again, and then update our package list. And what we wanna download is actually download a virtual PDF printer, not an actual printer, because we don't have a physical printer. So this is download a virtual printer. As you can see, added the printer. So we do that. The cups PDF printer, virtual printer, right? So take a look at what this does. Take a look, right? Now before anything else, we wanna just restart the cups list to just reconfigure everything. Just give it a little refresh, and then we wanna come on the admin page of cups. And then we'll go to administration, and then the virtual printer pops up. If we had not done that, it would not have popped up, by the way. I wouldn't be able to use a virtual printer. So we could just like name the printer now, give it a description, location. We could share this printer, obviously, so this would allow us to share it, make it visible, right? So you just check the box there, right? Continue, right? Then from here, we would choose the driver, right? So we just want to scroll, choose the generic driver, right? We would want to choose the model of virtual printer. We just want to scroll till we find this here. I'm gonna just keep looking, and then it's added. It's that simple. We've now added it to our first virtual machine, right? We have the page size, etc. Then the second one, if we go to settings, and then we go to printers, yes, you see it's popped up. You see it's there, right? You see it's there. And then we could pick the page setup, number of pages per side, size, and we could print a test page, and then you see it comes up as a PDF. Yep, and then it shows completed jobs. It shows us the page that it successfully printed for us here, as you can see. So that is one of the best things that you can do between two machines, and then it shows us, yes, the PDF file here, right? Shows the virtual printer, the PDF file itself, video page, test page. So this is the completed jobs, obviously. So this is how you would do your test page. And from there, I guess that's basically the main way to demonstrate printer sharing using the cups service between two Linux machines. So that's like a simple demonstration of that. So we would want to move on just now. So let's do one more. And yes, it's still working. Okay, good, fantastic. So we do multiple. So it's a really, really good thing. Let's maybe change it to landscape. Let's see what else we could do. We can change the color to another one. Yeah, okay, to kind of carried away with this, but so let's see here. Yep, it came up again. Okay, this was from a minute ago. Okay, yeah. That was the one from just now. So yeah, that's how you share printers. Okay. So now we want to finally get into the good stuff. So this is how you would dual boot with Windows 11 and Elemental OS, right? So we name it, right? We want to start with the Windows ISO first. Now keep in mind what happened is Elemental OS Linux comes with Grub. So what Grub does is detect Windows and lets you dual boot. If I were to do Elemental OS first and then install Windows, Windows would override Grub and it would completely delete Elemental OS, and then I would just be left with Windows. So it's important to install Windows first and then install Elemental OS, so Grub can detect Windows. So it has to be this way. So we want to just assign enough disk space, right? We always want to be safe, so we can have enough, right? We want to keep the 4000 megabytes. We want to have enough RAM. This is very important. We definitely will need enough RAM for this, right? So now we begin our installation. Attach the Windows 11 ISO, right? And then begin our startup for our virtual machine. Just wait a little bit here, let it power up with VirtualBox. Give it a little while. So just give it a little bit. Yeah. And then we are in. Just wait a little bit now for it to load. Let it jump into Windows 11. Yes, Windows 11 setup. We just click next, install Windows, agree to that. But we don't have a product key. And from here we just wait. In our case, we will be Windows 11 home. So click next again. Basically, just a lot of next and accept and finish and yes, and you just keep waiting. Choose our unallocated space, but we would want to set it to 50. We don't want to use the whole thing because obviously we need space for Elemental OS, right? So this is very important. This is very important that you share up the space. So this is how much I will be using, right? 55 gigabytes, right? And then from here we could just do the install. So install Windows 11 on my system here. Just give it a while. Let it do its thing. So it's a long process. So this does take a while. So as you can see, it did say your computer may restart every time. So after that, we choose the country. US as before. No, we don't want the second layout. We'll check for some updates. Okay. I want to give it a while again. Just give our device a name. Let's skip for now, but I'll name it something. I'll name it Dual Boot. You know that we're not Dual Boot here with Windows 11. Right. And from here we'll just wait a little bit and then it would download the updates. This will give it the latest drivers, the latest software for the system to run. And then after that it would restart again. And then it would finally get into the sign-in. So I would just put in my email, your password, your stuff like that. So I put in my password, etc. Then we're into the desktop. Right? So that's how we're there. Shut down now. Get ready to install our Elemental OS. So we can finally finish this dual boot. Right? So we want to just check and see what we have attached. So in our case, we would attach the Elemental OS ISO. Very important. Right? Detach the Windows 11 ISO. We don't need that anymore. Honestly. Right? So do that. Then we boot into Elemental OS. Now you didn't notice I didn't attach the hard disk for Windows 11. That's because sometimes you run into times where it actually still boots up into Windows 11. So we'll just simply attach the Windows 11 hard disk when we're actually fully booted into Elemental OS. So that way there's no conflict. Because sometimes you might see that it might still be booted into Windows 11. So you can always just attach the hard disk afterwards. Seeing that is a virtual machine. Well, in a real boot, you obviously want to do this, but just to keep it simple. We are familiar with this. You are familiar with this process, so you just follow the same thing as before. But this time, custom install. So we don't want to wipe off Windows 11, right? Because we need to choose the unallocated space, the partition, and make a partition, right? So we would use this this partition that I created here, right? And then we would also use the another partition that I created, which is the FAT32 partition, which I created to boot, to use for the BIOS, right? So this is how we did it here. Then I made one for the boot, right? A separate partition. So as you can see here, this is what I did. So as you can also tell, I use the ext4 ext4 file system. So this has been it is extremely reliable, right? It has no where it crashes, and ext4 extension 4, whatever you want to call it, is based on Ubuntu. So since Elemental OS inherits Ubuntu's defaults, the developers optimize everything, updates, etc. with ext4 in mind. So using our file system, it could work, but it's not guaranteed to behave, I guess you could say, perfectly, right? So that is why I did that. That is basically why I did that. So it performs, it has a fast read write, it has low overhead, it's good for SSDs, So most installers, bootloaders, and even drivers have seen extension for. So it could cause boot problems, update issues. So it's the safest, fastest and most reliable file system for Elemental OS, right? So that's why we use extension for. And then FAT32 obviously is for the boot. So that is why we chose that. Okay. So yeah. But anyway, for it to recognize it, we would wanna redo the space that we allocated, because obviously it's not popping up. So I just do that. Recreate the partition, apply the partition to finalize. Don't override, but I do that. Save the details. Okay. We want to do it for the 25 gig partition that I made as well. Sorry. So it's still not popping up. So what we will do, select it and then reallocate the space. Right? So let's see. So as I say, it's the extension for that I use EX4. Let's see. So we just want to resave the partition and it should pop up. Yes, and then it would show us, as you can see, it shows us our full two partitions that we created, right? One to use as the root, and then one to use as the boot. But EFI, then we simply select the two, right? Then erase and install, and then from here we go straight into Elemental OS. This takes a while, obviously, so I had to skip it. We just give it some time, let it do its thing, let the installer run. And then it should be installed. Lovely. Lovely. So we're just doing to restart here. And it boots into the grub menu. So this is how we would do a boot. So we're booting the Elemental OS first. Now we're in our third virtual machine with Elemental OS, or dual bit machine this time around. Everything looks fine, you can see. It's working perfectly. And this is it. And then we want to try to boot into Windows now. From the same machine, as you can see, dual boot 1. Should go into the grub menu, and then we can go into Windows. So let's boot into Windows this time around. So that's it there, Windows Boot Manager. Boom, click that. Right. Nice. And we're in Windows 11 successfully. So congratulations, you successfully just did your first dual boot with Elemental OS and Windows 11. Congratulations. So that's how we do it. That's a very simple way of getting that done. So we can just power off a machine. how we do it. Okay? So yeah. That's it. That's how you do it. As you can see, it still works. So we made the first boot, Elementor, Windows, back to Elementor, and it's still the same. So it made no errors, it made no mistakes, and it's still working. So no problems. So we're back in and it works perfectly. Okay? So yeah. So what we want to do now is use something called Compass Fusion. So what this does is something really cool. It basically lets you customize your entire desktop, you could say, the Pantheon desktop in my case, but it could cause errors and crash the system. So what we will do is use Compass Fusion and create almost a second desktop, right? So we won't be using the actual Pantheon desktop. We will be using, it will be still in Elemental OS, but it will be a different desktop. So that way we won't mess up the Pantheon desktop, right? So this is how you will get that done. This is a simple demonstration of me personally doing it, okay? So just wait a little bit for Elemental OS to load up. Right, then we go in the lovely terminal. We type these commands here: sudo apt update the packages, obviously. Type in the sudo password, wait for the packages to update before doing anything else. Then sudo apt install Compass. Yes, let it install. Continue. Let it do its thing. Then we want to do this here. Sorry, not Compass. Sudo apt install Compass. Compass plugins. Compass plugins. Extra. Compass config settings. Manager, I should say. Okay. This is an add-on to Compass. This is the settings manager, so this will allow us to control it. Okay. Then sudo apt install Compass genome session flashback. Then click yes. And this is the session that I was telling about. This is how we will do a separate session from our Pantheon desktop. So we won't destroy anything basically. So I will show how this will be done, but we just need to just install run, and then I'll demonstrate that. Great. See that it's installed, we log out. Okay. Log out. Not power off. Log out. Okay. Then we click on the gear. We click on the gear. And then we go on this here that we on the genome flashback Compass. Secure session. So a separate session. Okay. As you can see, the classic session, which is the Pantheon desktop. So we go on this here. And look at what this will do. Just type in our password. This here is what we want. So this is the separate session, right? It's separate from Pantheon desktop. So this is specialized for this. So we won't destroy anything. So we can just play around, and it is still Elemental OS, same profile, everything, but it will allow us to not break anything. And so it has its own interface. So look at what it does. It gives us a setting manager. Remember the settings manager that we had put in the terminal? This is it here. This allows us to do all of these things that you see here. This So in the desktop, it would obviously have a lot of different stuff. So the desktop cube, for instance, right? Rotate cube, all of this stuff. Different effects, animations, anything you want. A lot of this stuff, we could just play around with it. We could choose a lot of different things. Wobbly windows, what I effect animation, 3D windows, right? 3D transformable windows. So just think of like basically letting loose and customizing your desktop and exploring all the possibilities. So let's see here. We should have some wobbly windows. Yep. Yeah. Has the wobbly windows. That's one cool thing you can do. Just one to start off with. Just one. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Let's do that again actually. Some wobbly. Yep. So as you can see, this distorts the windows. See what else we have. We have it. Oh yes, the desktop cube. So let me just demonstrate this desktop cube here. So we have some special, obviously, some keys that we have to use. So let me just show what this desktop cube does. But before that, let me see what else I can add. I don't think there's anything else. Okay, let me try to do this so we can get this running. Let's go back. Let's see here. Still wobbling. That's how we do the desktop cube. So as you can see, with a very specific combination of keys. Well, we're not done yet actually. Yes, and this is how we do the desktop cube. So as you can see, it shows us all the different windows that we have open, and it stimulates the cube. That's really cool. That's like probably my favorite feature of Compass Fusion. But we can add something to this, and I'll show you shortly. We can actually make this much better. I'll demonstrate that just now for you guys. Let's do it again. Yep, this is how it looks. So I'll demonstrate how to actually put this cube in any environment and make it look really cool. Okay. So this is how we would add in this environment with the sky dome. So we would attach an image, any image that we want, to the sky dome, right? And then we put the cube in space. And this kind of makes the cube more alive, make the environment alive. It's just, instead of the abyss, we put it in space. So this is my favorite feature that we can do with the cube, right? So with a simple JPEG image, this is what we can achieve. We can essentially put the cube inside a JPEG. Okay. So with the animations now, we could change it. So for the close animation of a window per se, we could choose something random. let's choose that. It can be anyone's. So we can just adjust it. Set the duration how long. So this will be milliseconds, right? And then we will just finish configuring it here and then set it up. So in the window match, the same thing that we have as default. We'll put that same thing, just copy and paste it and put it in ours. And then you see that? That's it, that's the fan. That's our little fan animation. So we'll just have this cool animation when we close off our window. That's essentially another cool thing we can do with Cockpit Studio. So that's all of it. So you see, it's quite a lot. There's really anything you want. It's all your based on your preference. So that's how we will change the minimize. So that's our cool minimize animation there, as you can see. It's really limitless. It's limitless. So let's say we want to do something else. Let's say we want to do something with our windows. Let's say we want to rotate them, have them spinning or something. We could do that as well, right? We just look at what they're binded to, what are the keys. As you can see, it's shift control and our mouse button, and then look at what we do here. Yes, so that is what we can do here, and just have it spinning. So this is something else we can do. Something pretty random, but again, it's a lot of different things you can do with Cockpit Studio. You can do that as well, have it kind of bouncing. Kind of zooming in and out. Right? And we have some fire paint here. Right? So, look at what this will do. I guess you can make a guess, but we have fire paint as well. And this would create this stick pattern here on our screen. Right? Yet another feature of Cockpit Fusion. I mean, you can't even imagine yourself doing this on Windows, right? Or Mac. Who knows, you probably can, but I haven't tried. I haven't been able to. This is the first time I'm doing this, and it's on the next system. And that's something, as you can light your whole screen on fire, and then you can just simply clear it or cancel it with whatever key you bind it. And it disappears. So to cover one more tool we can use, we have, I think it's a pen tool or something like that. Annotate. So just look at our bindings for it, and then we can end off this demonstration. So in this I covered a lot of things, 3 different virtual machines with a dual boot, elemental OS, networking, printer sharing, file sharing. I hope this video was beneficial to you guys. I want to thank you. This was for my operating systems 1 to 4 course. So thanks for watching. I hope it was informative, and I hope to see you again soon. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. This was Jonathan.